Week 11 comes to a close tonight with Monday Night Football at Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers taking on DeAndre Hopkins and the Cardinals. We just heard from Shefty. We will not see Kyler Murray. It'll be Colt McCoy at quarterback, 8 Eastern on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6. Time now to check in at the Domino's pregame headquarters. Lisa Salter standing by. Lisa. I know. We don't have Marcus in studio today, so that's Dan trying to be Marcus. I'm sorry for everyone about that. Lisa, the NFC West heads south to Mexico City tonight, the 5th regular season game ever held in Mexico. What have these two teams been doing to prepare to play at the highest altitude site ever for an NFL game?
Yeah, Laura Swagoo, the elevation could very well become a story tonight for both teams. Estadio Azteca is almost 7,300 feet above sea level, a full 2,000 feet higher than Denver's Mile High Stadium. That means the air here is thin, and players will find it harder to catch their breath, and they could suffer from nausea, headaches, fatigue. Those are just some of the symptoms of altitude sickness. The two teams took different approaches to preparing for altitude this week. The 49ers did what some other teams have done in the past, choosing to train at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, which is about 6,800 feet above sea level. Kyle Shanahan said they could have done without the cold weather and snow there, but the goal was to get players acclimated so that the altitude will have less of an effect on them tonight. As for the Cardinals, Cliff Kingsbury said he and his staff did a lot of research about this during the offseason and considered taking the team to Vail, Colorado to train this week. But he said they concluded that unless you train for at least 2 weeks at higher altitude, it really doesn't do you much good. So he opted to stay in Arizona. But for the last 3 weeks, Arizona players have been using specially designed cardio equipment, wearing masks that allow you to restrict available oxygen levels while you're out there working out. So different approaches to this altitude challenge, but both teams will have extra oxygen on the sidelines tonight and in their locker rooms. Laura?
I love it, Lisa. We can't wait to see you tonight and everybody else on Monday Night Football. And don't forget to check this out. Tonight, during Monday Night Football, tune in for the final trailer debut of Avatar, The Way of Water. Experience it only in theaters December 16th. All right, time now to read and react to some other news from Sunday, beginning with the Giants, who were upset at home in Detroit by the Lions. Detroit completely shut down Saquon Barkley, limiting him to just 22 yards on 15 carries in this game. I know, look at that. Barkley averaged 0.1 yards before contact per rush, was hit at or behind the line of scrimmage on 60% of his rushes, his highest rate in over 2 years. Dan, how did the Lions defense shut down Barkley?
Yeah, they always had one more guy than the Giants had blocking, and then a lot of defensive line movement was a big part of what they were trying to do. Get ahead on first down and make sure that the Giants offense wasn't going to be able to run the football. So first down, okay, 8 men in the box. The Giants only have 7 with their blocking scheme, a little bit of shift of motion, defensive line slants. First down and 10 becomes second down and 12. Again, first down, making Daniel Jones having to play for second and long situations. Watch the slant from these defensive linemen and then condensed split by that wide receiver tight end. Shoot the gap. First and 10 becomes second and 9. Also, the reality that they were going to stack with 9-man boxes. The Giants knew that they wanted to get into second and 6, second and 7 situations. Well, the Detroit Lions said, Daniel Jones, you're going to have to beat us from playing behind the sticks. You saw that from a consistent basis. That's why Saquon only averaged 2.4 yards per carry on first downs. They made Daniel Jones beat him. Obviously, he was able to do that by numbers and defensive line slants.
It's been really fun to watch Aiden Hutchinson play at the high level
Balling,
tonight, right?
Balling.
All right, now to Denver, where the Broncos led the Raiders 16-13 at the 2-minute warning with a 3rd and 10 at their own 34-yard line. With the Raiders out of timeouts, the Broncos had nearly 88% chance to win the game, according to ESPN Analytics. 88% chance. So, Mina, why did the Broncos end up losing this game?
Well, it starts with this play. You know, Nathaniel Hackett said afterwards he called a pass play because he wanted to win the game on 3rd and 10. And however you feel about that, what I was puzzled by in real time was watching Russell Wilson get flushed out of the pocket and then with pressure bearing down on his face, as you see here, attempting to throw instead of going down and running 40 seconds off the clock. Laura, it's crazy because Russell Wilson actually played a really good game up till that point, but this feels to me like an encapsulation of the Broncos' problems this season, just a lack of consistency until the very end. And of course, the Raiders came back to win.
Yeah, the Broncos are 0-3 in games that they've led by 10 or more points this season. That's the worst such record in the NFL. Hey, coming up, the Jets' D-line did its part with a 6-sack performance, but their offense couldn't get off the ground. Why are they primed to give Zach Wilson a timeout? Well, someone here says they should, and we'll explain. You're watching NFL. One that we had our eyes on going into the week. Dak Prescott visiting the Vikings. They're under 2 minutes left in the half. Cowboys up 13-3 on Minnesota's 30. Prescott looking around for a target. He finds Tony Pollard.
Well, 4 strong. The defense completely sinks inside, and he does a great job trusting his feet and his eyes. Get all the way back to Pollard, who runs it in from the sideline.
So the Vikings looking to answer 1st and 15 at their own 46. 1:05 left in the half. Micah Parsons. Oh, my goodness.
I'm telling you, if you get into a passing situation against this defense, you have absolutely no shot. This is another great play call by Kellen Moore offensively. They moved Dak Prescott right before the half, specifically to get him outside the pocket. That throw to CD is just out of this world. And then his feet on the sideline with his hand-eye coordination to make that catch, sick.
Cowboys get a field goal, leading 23-3 into the half, and under 13 minutes left in the third. Cowboys on their own 32. Prescott throwing to a wide-open Pollard, again untouched. Going to the end zone, 68-yard touchdown. Cowboys dominate this one, 30-3. And as you could imagine, Jerry was happy.
Do you see this team as being one of the teams that's in it to contend for a championship, or how do you look at this team, what you've seen to this point?
A resounding yes. Yes. Unequivocally yes. I think we've had adversity. We very easily could have some more adversity. But I sure do think that what I see out here right now is the team like that you could go get a Super Bowl with.
Let's talk Cowboys offense for a minute. They ran for 150 yards yesterday. We showed you a lot of what Tony Pollard did, too. He's a great pass catcher as well. Dan, how did they do it?
Yeah, I think this is the best stretch for Kellen Moore as the play caller of the Cowboys in the history of his play calling career. And I've said this, the way they put their tight ends on the field and that giving them formation flexibility is a big deal. We call this East, right? Normally with these 2 tight ends, the inside guy's on the ball and the outside guy's off. They flip it. What that allows is really good angles versus that 5-man front that Minnesota showed up. That's just that duo. Here's another duo concept. Remember, tight end closest to the ball is off. Tight end further away is on. This midline run for Pollard is great because he starts exactly behind the quarterback, sees the double teams, and gets downhill. And I think that a couple weeks ago we saw them put all those tight ends on the field and they played spread football. Remember, like the 3 tight ends were on the field and they were in that trips concept and they would kick out the screen. CD was in the backfield. Now they take this, instead of going tight end wing like that, they flip them and it allows their run game to be a little bit better at the point of contact. Kellen Moore, and also yesterday was the first time, MK, for me, at least this season, that I saw them really give Dak a ton of freedom at the line of scrimmage. And that's where, again, with those guys on the field, I think that offense is best when Dak has control. They're getting in and out of the huddle, maybe running some no huddle. He can kind of survey the defense, not only get out of bad plays, but get into really, really good ones.
Which is something they should be leaning into because Dak is an incredibly cerebral quarterback. Pre-snap, he's one of the best in the game. And now that they have, as you alluded to with Kellen Moore's play calling, so many answers for him out of so many different looks, he is able to find mismatches and make decisions at the line of scrimmage based on what he's seeing. You talked about the 2 tight ends on the field. I believe the second Tony Pollard wheel route, they had the 2 tight ends on his side. I thought they were going to run it because they've been so good running out of those looks. But they don't have to because Pollard, as great as he is as a running back, and I've been beating that drum all season, he's one of the probably 3 best receiving running backs in the NFL. And if anything, Dan, I think that's something they could tap into even more because if defenses are truly not sure if he's going to run or be a pass catcher on any play, that makes things all the more easier for Dak Prescott.
And that's another step, great point, why the multiple tight ends matter because not only are they creating matchups, he's getting so much information. Like on the Tony Pollard wheel route that you mentioned, it's actually, they put Schultz by himself. It's cover 4, but Harrison Smith communicates to go kick to the field. He knows he's got one-on-one with the linebacker, and he checks the play at the line of scrimmage. So he's creating matchups or getting matchups, but also gathering so much information that he can, again, it's almost Peyton Manning I'm not saying that he's Peyton Manning, but 20 years ago where he can get to line of scrimmage, know exactly what you're in. Oh, you're in a light box, we're in the football. Oh, you're in shell coverage, we can get quick game. Like, that stuff is where they're at their best efficiently-wise on offense.
You know, they really limited, the Cowboys did, Justin Jefferson. The Vikings now 2-2 this season when Jefferson has fewer than 100 receiving yards compared to 6-0 when he has at least 100. So he's key. Makes sense.
Hard to replicate.
Right. Let's get to some more stories from Sunday. There's a lot to get to. So we bring in Adam Schefter now from Mexico City to help us break them all down.